Hey, smart girls, it's Christy Metcalf today. How are you? Okay, so I have to switch over and I'm so excited because there's so much going on today. Here, let me do this. Let me see if I can do it. I'm live now. Okay, so if you have seen any of my self-deprecating jokes over technology, I am not the technology gal in the Two Smart Girls. Jess really is that person. And this has been a big week because two technology gadgets in 1 week. So if you caught the blog and you listened to it on Tuesday, you know that I used a brand new microphone to record our audio blog, which is sort of a big deal, but it made me feel so grown up and so special. And so then today, Jess sends me a text and she says, hey, I think you should stream on Instagram the same time you're doing Facebook Live. And I literally responded to the text and I was like, me, you want me to do something with technology new? She was like, you've totally got this. And I have to tell you, at first my brain defaulted into holy schnozballs. Like what am I going to do? And 6 months ago, I probably would have thought I can't do this, but she's like, you've got this. You've been doing the Facebook Lives. All you have to do is really press a button and you are good to go. And so that's what I did. So hopefully it's on Instagram too. So I am so excited to be here with you today. Thanks for giving up your Thursday. If you are watching this as a replay, could you please put replay as you listen to it or watch it so we know that you are a replay. But this week has been such a good week. It's been good for many reasons. 2 gadgets in 1 week. But in the last week, we have signed 3 clients to one-on-one coaching. And I don't say that to brag, but I say that because these 3 women who reached out to us, every single one of them used the exact same phrase when they contacted us. I feel stuck and I don't know how to move forward. And if you're in that same position, we've been there. We know what it feels like to be there. There are other women out there just exactly like you. And I think what it comes down to is, we provide a lot of resources each and every week. We dive into the research because that's our comfort zone. That's what we love doing. That's where we thrive. And we want to share it with all of you. But at some point, you have to realize that you can't do it alone. There is so much information out there. You could Google whatever you need, whenever you want it, whenever you need it. And there is loads, thousands of things that you need out there. And I can totally get sucked up into that because I love research. But at some point, you have to put action with it. So you can have all the freebies and all the documents and all the books that you want, but at some point you have to say, I don't think that I can get there alone. And these 3 women did, and I am so proud of them for making that decision and for saying, hey, I need a little bit of help, because that's what we do. We've done this for the last 17, 20, 25 years together collectively in corporate America, and we decided to focus our attention on the individual, the women who are out there sort of struggling and need just a little bit of hand-holding and a little bit of accountability to make sure things get done so they don't default to binging on Netflix or Facebook or watching TV or whatever they default to, that I don't have the time to do it. So if you are that person and you are listening to this message today and you have great big dreams and you want to do some amazing things this year, then if you're in that same position where you feel stuck and you just need a little help, then reach out to us. Let's talk about it. Let's see what that looks like, because we will be just as excited to help you as we are for the 3 of them. So I want to make that plug. Okay, so we're going to dive into the book today. Remember, Habits 5 and 6, our favorite book that we're doing. And let's talk about this book just a little bit. So on all 3 of the coaching calls that we've been on this week, we've heard this phrase: I bought the book, but I haven't had time to read it yet. And when they said it, there was a little hint of guilt and shame that they had not done some of the work. And this is an amazing book. It's phenomenal. It literally will radically change your life. However, we also know that you have a life and you have kids and family and homework and jobs and cooking and cleaning and all of those other things. And so there's no shame or guilt if you haven't bought the book, or even if you have bought the book, hey, Robin, and you haven't cracked the front cover. There is no shame in that. And what I want to say to that is we give you permission to not read the book. If you don't have time to read the book, don't read the book. It is not meant to lay guilt on you that you haven't done it. We provided it as a resource. And if you don't have time to read it, that's okay. We get it. However, Oh, my video just ended on Instagram. It's not when technology will fail, but if. So we give you permission. If you don't have time to read it, I'm going to let you off the hook on that one. But here's where I'm not going to let you off the hook. Okay. So each and every week we are diving into 2 of the habits out of the 12. This week was habits 5 and 6. And we dive into those and we talk about the habits as though you were reading the book, because we have read the book. And then we apply them to our own personal lives and to our business, and then give you some tips and encouragement. By the way, we have a download. Yay, Lisette's here. Oh, it's so good to see you. We've given a download worksheet, which is free to you, and you can gauge how you're doing in each of the habits and where you need to make changes. So take that, grab it, but here's where I'm not going to let you off the hook, okay? You may not have time to open the book and read the book. However, there is an audio blog portion that goes with our blog each and every week, and none of those are more than 15 minutes long. We record them so that if you don't have time to read them, you can listen to it driving to work or taking the kids to school or exercising in the morning or walking the dog or whatever your daily routine is. And there is no one out there. And if you think that you are, I want you to send me a message and say, I just don't have time. But I don't believe that there's anybody out there that does not have 15 minutes every day where they can listen to something that can change their life. And if you do, if you don't have the 15 minutes, I want to hear from you, because I don't believe that's true. So 15 minutes. In fact, this week, I think it was 13 minutes and 46 seconds, just off the cuff. But if you don't have 13 minutes and 43 seconds, 45 seconds to listen to something that can impact your life and your job that you're doing right now, or your business that you're trying to get off the ground, if you don't have time for 13 minutes, we have bigger issues than reading the book, okay? So that's where you don't get off the hook, and I'm gonna hold you accountable to that one. All right, so let's dive in. This week was habits 5 and 6, and I love these habits, and I talked about them in the blog as, you know, years ago when I first started in the training and development industry, I heard this phrase, and it was, when we teach, we learn. And it is so true, and I never really thought about it until this weekend. So, you know, we read this book a year ago when we were launching Two Smart Girls, and this month is our anniversary. And we read it and we were like, yes, 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 makes sense. Totally, we have that habit, we've done that habit, you know, but we always use these habits that we're talking about as though they're past tense, as though we have moved beyond them. And we're no longer, like, you know, wading in the thick of this quicksand. And as I was prepping for the blog this weekend and looking at habits 5 and 6, and habit 5 is failing to enlist your allies. And number 6 is being so focused on the job that you lose sight of your career. And it was while I was prepping for this that I realized, oh my goodness, maybe Two Smart Girls isn't as in the past with these habits as we thought they were. And so it really made me do a lot of reflection and thinking about, you know, where we had failed miserably at this. So if you have not followed us before, you probably don't know this story. So I'm just going to recap a little bit for all of you. But, you know, Jess and I spent a good portion of our careers in corporate America, and then we left corporate America to start our own consulting business in the training and development industry. Loads of experience. Collectively running our own businesses, we have about 28 years. We've traveled around the globe, all across the United States. We've designed workshops, developed them, facilitated them. And one of the things that I would like to say is, you know, when we started Two Smart Girls last year, you would think that that whole vault of people and resources and network, we would naturally just gravitate and call all of those people, but we didn't. And the reflection came this weekend, like, why didn't we do that? And the more I thought about it, the more that I realized that our brain had actually misled us. We defaulted to what we feel comfortable doing, and that is putting our head down and learning. And when we started Two Smart Girls, one of the things that we realized was we were going to have to operate and do things differently than we had ever done before, which is very scary. And it's very humbling because we had all of this experience traveling around the world and dealing with these corporate clients. But when you're talking to you, who's sitting here watching me right now, that is a very different relationship than going in front of a classroom in corporate America. And so immediately people were like, you have to learn about funnels. You have to do blog posts. You have to do videos, tons of videos. You have to use technology. You have to reach out to them. You have to get an email list. And it was so overwhelming that instead of recognizing all of the assets that we had in our vault, we resorted to trying to be the expert. And so it goes back to habit number 3, which Jess talked about last week. So we defaulted into putting our heads down and trying to learn everything that we possibly could. And there was just too much of it. And we were killing ourselves trying to do it. And one of the things that I recognized this weekend as I was prepping was we failed to reach out to those allies, those people who had trusted us, believed in us, helped shape our businesses from the get-go years ago, 28 years ago. We failed to reach out to them. And I had to think about, why did that exist? And I think we're probably not so different than many of you sitting out there watching, okay? So you've been in a profession, whatever that is. We had our own businesses for 28 years, and you decide to swerve and go a different direction or take a leap. And even though I had had my own training and development company for 17 years, some people never even last in a job 17 years. I had 17 years of experience running my own company. And yet I felt like I was this fly by night, even at Christmas time. We went to visit my husband's family. And it was one of those situations where people were like, oh, how is the new business going? And I'm like, oh, it's good. It's good. It was like this taboo subject, like I had gotten afflicted with some disease that we just couldn't bring up at Christmas dinner. Instead of me saying, it's amazing, I love what I'm doing, it was that uncomfortableness of, can she really do it? Well, I did it 17 years ago. Who's to doubt that I'm going to be successful? I am going to be successful. But it was that undercurrent of, let's not talk about this. This is really uncomfortable. And this weekend, as I was reading this chapter again, it made me recognize a couple of things. And that is, people don't know what we're doing. And we think they do, and we hold back because we don't want to post it on Instagram or Facebook, like, oh, they don't want to hear about my business or, what I'm doing or my new job that I'm doing. But the thing about it is, I finally had to realize, if I can look at their dog pictures, 20 times a day, they can look at my, Two Smart Girls post every single day. Who cares about that? And so I really held back on myself because I think, number one, I was afraid that I was learning all of this new stuff. And I think we hold back because we don't want to put it out there into the world in a big way. We don't want to tell people, our families, our friends. I mean, we keep it very protectively close to us, but we don't want to announce it until it's big, because then we will have proven that we could do it, right? We are there. We have almost made it to the finish line. But the thing about it is, you're not going to make it to the finish line if you don't enlist your allies to help you get to the finish line. And that was one of the big ahas for me. In September, we made a post on Facebook about this new business because we sort of felt like we were in a good place to do that. We'd been talking about it with lots of people, but we waited until we really felt like we had our feet under us to announce, hey, we have this business going. And in November, my best friend from college came to visit. And I felt like I had spoken about this so much on social media, about what we were doing, about why I was passionate about it, about, leaving behind what was and now moving towards this direction. My best friend sitting with me, and he was like, so what are you doing now? What? You started a new company? And I was like, what? How could you not know what I'm doing? I felt like I had screamed it across all channels. But that was a message to me that, people are consumed in their own lives, in their own work, in their own daily routines. They don't know what I'm doing. They don't know what you're doing. So don't be afraid to reach out and tell them what you're doing. Do not wait until you make it big, because they will be part of the success. There are people out there who are waiting for you to enlist, to ask for their help, to help you do something big, something successful, something that will radically change this world. And I encourage you today, if you have not done it, to sit down and to think about all the people that you have not told about your business and what you're doing, and really explain it to them. And I want you to make a list, and I want you to be specific about what you can ask them for, how they can help you. We are asked all the time, how can I help you? How can I get the message out? And when you're vague and you're ambiguous about it, people don't know how to help you. So I encourage you to make a list, to really think about why you have not enlisted those allies yet. Is because you don't feel like the expert? Is because you're unclear about what you're really doing? Is because you're afraid, that somebody will ask you questions and make you feel like a fraud? We default to that imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud, feeling like we're not worthy more times than often, especially women. That is one of our limiting beliefs, is that we are not enough to do this. You are enough to do this. Sit down, make your list. Who doesn't know about your business? Be prepared to put it out there in a big way, and that you are going to broadcast it, and you are going to talk about all of the goodness and the reason that you did it, and ask for their help. And if you have not done that yet, today, you have a task item today. Okay. So that talks about enlisting your allies. Let's switch gears a little bit to talking about putting the job before your career. And when you're in corporate America, you think about the job, right? The job that you're doing now. But when you start your own business, you're like, well, it's not about a job, but it is about a job. And I can tell you from clients that we have coached, people that we have worked with, women that we have coached, they have had the same problem too. So we leave our corporate job or our corporate track, whatever that was, and then we go into business for ourselves. And it's very scary, and we're unsure about ourselves, about our business. What are we doing? We went from being an individual contributor to now all of a sudden running a business and a company. We don't know how to do that. And somebody gives us a chance. And usually that person that gives us a chance is our former employer. It's amazing, but 9 times out of 10, that's where we find our first clients, is back in that position that we left. And all of a sudden, this position becomes so glorious, because you're like, yes, I get to define things on my own terms. I get to pick my own schedule. I get to get paid what I'm worth. But I will caution you, because we used to do leadership training, and one of the most difficult first level leadership positions as a manager is going from the group that you were a part of to now managing that group. And I'm going to put this in same terms when you start your own company. Going from an employee of a company to now your own business, going back into that company, is going to be one of the most challenging and frustrating relationships you've ever had. Obviously, things were at a point where you wanted to leave that company. Right? You were burned out. You felt stuck. All of those things. And now you're going to go back in, and I promise you, you will feel those same feelings even quicker than you were when you were there. But you will convince yourself, no, it's not that way at all, because you want the money. Number one, money is always good when you're starting your own business. That can be a source of stress. But number two, it makes you feel good, because it's the job that you were doing before. So it makes you feel valued. It makes you feel needed. Somebody wants your services. And you tell yourself, I am only going to do this job, right, until I have enough money, I have enough security, I have established myself as a business owner that I can go on and get other clients now. And here is the pitfall in that thinking, is sometimes they keep you so busy because they're using you as an employee, but you are not an employee, you are a business owner, that you end up putting all of your resources into helping them grow their business instead of you growing your business. And we have seen it all too often. We have been guilty of it. We have seen other women be guilty of it. It is just a natural progression. And so what you say to yourself is, I'm only going to do it for this amount of time, and then I'm going to move on. But you're either so tired, so busy, right, working so hard that there is nothing left over for you to devote to your business. So I tweak the wording a little bit. Don't focus on the job to give up on your business versus your career. And I really think that that's important. At the root of it, when I was in that mode, that cycle, here's what happens. I was at the mercy of another business making decisions about my business. So if they decided to send out an RFP and I had to submit that RFP, at the end of the day, I may or may not get chosen. I may or may not get the money that I want. And I was constantly allowing clients to drive my business versus me being in the driver's seat driving my own business. And that is such an important factor. And we default to letting somebody else drive our business when we don't feel confident, and we don't feel secure, and we don't feel like we are worthy and can do it. That's when we default, because that at least gives us something to look forward to or to look to, rather than, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go out and sell. I'm going to have to pick up clients. I'm going to have to tell them what my worth is. That's all very scary, and it's all very normal. I want you to know that it is very normal. And if anyone has told you that running a business is easy, they're lying. The first 3 years will literally prove whether you have the survival skills to do it or not. It is hard. You're stressed about money. You are wondering where clients are going to come from. You think to yourself, what can I be doing because this is not working? How do I get my message out to them? How do I write the right words? How do I write the right copy? It is very scary and at times very lonely. This morning, I received a text that I would love to take advantage of, but it was like, hey, a bunch of us are going to the movies, impromptu, can you join us? No, I have to work. And those are the decisions that you make every single day for your business. Okay, so I just want to end as we start to wrap up. I want you to think about, are you putting other clients before your business, and where can you enlist the help of the people? Now, you know I must love a book when I have like all of these tabs and the front cover is bent and everything like that. But I just wanted to read this, 2 quotes out of the book, and it's about putting your job before your business or career, as they put it. But it says, this doesn't mean that you only think about the future instead of appreciating where you are now. But it does mean that you assess the value of every job, and I would say client, not just in terms of how much you enjoy it or how valued you are, but in terms of how it will serve your long-term self-interest. That's the reason that you're doing this, okay? So just one more thing, and I actually put this in the blog if you read it or you listened to it. It says, perhaps you feel undecided about what you really want to do. And because of that, you let uncertainty paralyze your ability to act. And I am cautioning you, do not let your undecidedness really determine what you think you can do in the future, okay? So a couple tasks for you. If you have not downloaded our worksheet, please do so. It is a quick and easy guide. You get to measure how you're doing in each of these habits, and then how you can make some changes so that they are not limiting you and where you need to go. The second thing that I want to really throw out there is, if you have not started the book and you have not opened the book, let us be your cheat sheet, okay? Just listen to the audio blog, 13, 14 minutes a day, and I promise you, you will see where and how this shows up in your life all of the time. If you're at a place where you're stuck, and you feel like you need that accountability partner and somebody to help move you forward into reaching all of those goals and dreams that you say that you want this year, then by all means, reach out to us and let us know, because we would love to help you. You are always free and welcome to our free content and our blogs and anything else that we can serve you. Go to our website and check those out. And as always, thanks for spending your Thursday afternoon with me. I have loved every second of it. Thanks for letting me figure out the 2 gadgets, although one shut down. And until next time, be present, be strong, be you. You've got this, smart girl. Have a great day.